Okay, so now from BlueCrest School of Fashion and Design in collaboration with Fashion Collective Niger. I know this is one of the most awaited webinars for some few days now because we have been expecting it and we couldn't wait for today. So I'd like to give a short introduction about BlueCrest. BlueCrest College is a dynamic and a Pan-African university which is spanning across Africa, the African continent, and has campuses in Accra, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. And we offer the IT and business. We also have a master's program in IT. Our approach to teaching is hinged on offering practical skills to our students. And as such, we closely collaborate with industry. And this webinar is a typical example of our collaboration with industry. And I would like to also mention that our fashion and IT students from Liberia and Sierra Leone campuses are also joining us in this webinar today, including School of Fashion and Design Ghana students, graduating classes or students, and our alumni. They are all in this webinar today. And we are all eager to learn much more about AI and 3D or digital fashion. I also like to introduce our lead speaker. Hi, Omo. Yes, Omo.
Hello. Hello, Sylvia.
Yeah, Omo is a creative lead for the Niger Fashionista Illustrations, and she's also the founder of Fashion Collaborative or Fashion Collect. Let me put it this way. She's the founder of the Fashion Collective Niger and the creative lead for Niger Fashionista Illustrations. Yes, and she goes by the name Omonigo Ito Imona. Yes, I believe you pardon me. Yes, and she's indeed an accomplished designer. She's indeed an accomplished designer and illustrator from Nigeria, and she is regarded as Nigeria's first documented fashion illustrator, and she has worked very hard to display some of her creative skills in Nigeria's biggest magazines and blogs. She's also the founder and creative lead at Niger Fashion, as I mentioned, which is also the Nigeria's foremost fashion illustration agency. Yes, so that means she's a pace setter. Yes, and she holds regular workshops on fashion illustration and has written 3 books on fashion illustration. Yes, and she's an expert in digital and AI fashion. So you're welcome, Omo. And I believe we are going to have a very wonderful session today. And I'll be happy for you to introduce the rest of our panelists or speakers for us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sylvia, for that incredible introduction. In Nigeria, we would say my head is swelling, swelling from pride. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar, first of its kind for BlueCrest University, where we'll be looking at the concept of digital fashion and AI fashion and how it affects the African fashion industry as a whole. On the panelists, on the panel, we have some of the biggest names, I'm proud to say, some of the biggest names in digital fashion and AI fashion. But before I begin to introduce them. I think I better start with an introduction. I'm going to start with an introduction of each and every single one of the panelists. And then I'm going to do a very brief presentation of digital fashion and AI fashion, and to break it down for our students who are not yet familiar with these terms. So first of all, I will be starting with Olaiton Alowoja. Olaiton Alowoja is a 2D and 3D designer from Nigeria. She's known for her innovative and creative designs in the fashion industry. Olaiton, could you please just, wave and just, briefly say hello?
Hi, everyone.
Happy to have you here.
It's nice to be here. Thank you.
Welcome. Then we have Muriel Paquette. Muriel, please, I know you have to let me know the correct pronunciation of your name. Muriel is an advisor in Web3 in fashion, games, and on the blockchain and education. She's a lecturer at Esmond Paris in sociology of fashion and has a demonstrated history of working in fashion and gaming with a master's degree in game studies from the University of Paris, Sorbonne Nord. Muriel, could you please just, wave and say hello?
Hi everyone. Thank you very much, Monigo. And the pronunciation is fine. I mean, I'm used to having very different kind. It's Mireille in French, but really hard to pronounce. So don't worry about mispronouncing it. I don't take any grudge from the pronunciation. So I'm very happy to be here and share this conversation with you all.
Happy to have you here. All right, then we'll move to Sylvia. I know it's written a bit differently. Sylvia Bimizik. I hope that's the right pronunciation. Sylvia, when it's time to say hello, please let's know the correct pronunciation of your name. Sylvia is a 3D apparel specialist with Timberland, a VF company. She has a solid foundation in 3D simulation and specialized expertise in cutting-edge technologies like AI, AR, and VR. Sylvia is focused on the integration of technology into the fashion industry. Sylvia, could you say a brief hello?
Hello, it's great to be here and talk with all of you. The right pronunciation is Szymczyk. It's pretty difficult, so don't worry about that.
All right, thank you so much, Sylvia. All right, then we have Luis. Unfortunately, Luis can't be here with us today. There was a brief mix-up with the time, but Luis is a digital fashion expert with 25 years experience. She's a pioneer in sustainable on-demand fashion, AR, and wearables. She's a founder of Digital Twin, a disruptive eco-fashion marketplace that turns digital designs into reality on demand and sustainably. Then we move to Okwe. Okwe is a futurist, renowned stylist who has worked with the likes of Betsy Johnston, and she's the creative director of Okwe Style Studio. She's an AI Fashion Week finalist and has had her AI designs exhibited at the NFT exhibition in Tokyo. Okwe, could you say a brief hello to us?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me amongst these amazing people here. Some of them that I know are doing incredible things. And thank you all.
Thank you so much, Okwe. Then we have Claire. Claire is the founder of the very popular Digital Fashion Week that spans New York, London, and Paris. She launched Digital Fashion Week New York to provide a lens into the future of the fashion industry by exploring unconventional approaches to how we interact with fashion. She's also the founder of The Drip, which is an haute couture digital fashion boutique, and she has had over 20 years experience innovating at the intersection of fashion and technology. Claire, could you please say a brief hello to us?
Hi, great to be here. So yeah, such an honor to meet all these other panelists. See you all. Many of you I already know. So thank you so much for inviting me. It's wonderful to be here and share.
Very, very happy to have you here, Claire. I want to say a big thank you to all of you for honoring this this webinar. Even Louise, who couldn't be here, Louise was, you know, we just had a brief mix-up in time, which is absolutely fine. I know that she's here in spirit. So first of all, I'm going to be starting with a brief explanation for our students here who are probably asking in their minds, what is digital fashion? I thought I was doing digital fashion. You know, what is it? What's the difference between 2D and 3D digital fashion? What is AI fashion and what's all the buzz about? And so I will start with the presentation. Thank you, Sylvia, for sharing the screen. All right. So basically, we'll start with 2D design. As you can see from the screen, a 2D digital design can be defined as a fashion or sketch illustration, having only length and breadth, and created using a digital device such as a laptop, computer, tablet, or phone. It can be created using a variety of apps, including Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, Sketchbook, amongst others. Now, to be truly useful in the design process, tech flats and patterns have to be created separately using other applications such as Adobe Illustrator, that's for tech packs, Browseware, or Tukacad for patterns. So you can see that this is a 2D digital illustration. So we move to 3D design. Now, a 3D design or a three-dimensional digital illustration is one that has length, breadth, and height. In other words, it can be viewed from every angle. It is created using a digital device and software such as Clo, Marvelous Designer, Style 3D, etc. It is generated by creating 2D patterns, which are digitally stitched and simulated on a 3D model called an avatar. Patterns and tech packs can be created from the same 3D design software. So a bit of a digression. You can see the difference between a 2D design and a 3D design. So a 2D design has length and breadth, while a 3D design has length, sorry, a 2D design has length and height and breadth, while a 3D design has height, length, and depth. Now, aside from that, from a 3D design, you can generate the patterns for the garments. You can also generate a tech pack. Whereas for a 2D design, you actually have to use other software to generate these things separately. Then you have AI generated designs. Now, these are 3D. They could come in 3D, they could come in 2D, but these are generally 3D digital designs created using artificial intelligence technology. By inputting a description, this description is known as a prompt. By inputting a description of a garment, different iterations of a design can be created in seconds. Now, the appeal of AI-generated designs is the speed of generation, the number of iterations of designs, and the complexity / the intricateness of the designs generated. So that's kind of like a brief explanation of the differences between 2D designs and 3D designs. So I'll be starting with questions. I'm going to start with Sylvia. Sylvia, I know that I've already touched on, you know, the differences between 2D designs and 3D designs, but from your perspective, what is digital fashion and how does 2D digital fashion differ from 3D digital fashion?
So basically you did it very well because
Guys,
at the end, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you loud
Okay,
and clear.
because I heard also someone else. So basically, your explanation was correct. The difference between 2D and 3D design is three-dimensionality of the second one. But what I wanted to focus on here more is difference between digital fashion and digital product creation. Because what I am doing for my job is digital product creation. We are creating 3D garments of something that can be produced physically. While digital fashion often are beautiful creations, but something that can't be done in real life. And it makes a huge difference between them because, for example, for us, very important skills we are looking for is ability to make patterns. So something that later can be cut in fabric and stitched. While in case of digital-only designers, it's not necessary. I mean, they are creating something that somehow wrap on avatar, and it's pure creation. They don't have to think about gravity, about the physical properties of the fabric, about how it can be actually produced. So how it have to be stitched. This is the difference I wanted to point out because it's really different skills required. It's different kind of creativity required, and also it's completely different job.
Interesting. So basically, you're saying what you're saying now is there is a difference between 3D design and 3D product creation, which is what product development, which is what you're doing for your company. So basically, 3D design involves the creation of 3D garments that can be worn on an avatar, do not necessarily respect the laws of gravity. We're not really looking at creating, it's really just for creating wearables per se. When you say,
exactly, they can be worn in digital spaces, in digital worlds, but often they can't be created in real life. So, for example, fashion, a lot of my, like, this is what we are doing in general in fashion companies. We are selling physical garments. We don't sell digital garments. Digital garments can be a great way to engage with our customers. It can be a great thing to have, but for us, the real value is digital product creation. So creation of 3D garment that can be produced later in real life.
Okay. So I know that you are also into AR and VR. So can you just, define for us what AR, VR is, and the difference between them? Because I know that people tend to use them interchangeably. So what's AR, VR, and what's the difference between them?
So they are commonly called also extended reality, so XR. But the main difference I see is that VR is completely virtual reality. So for example, metaverses. So for example, digital fashion weeks are living into virtual spaces, and they are only virtual spaces. While AR, it's augmented reality. So for example, you can use your phone, point it on some place, and see digital garment that looks like it is in this real space. So this is the main difference I see between augmented reality and virtual reality.
So basically, they don't have to do with wearables. Like they don't have anything. Do they have anything to do with digital garments?
Digital garments can be prepared for use in both virtual reality and there, for example, then they can be animated. You can register animation, or you can animate the garment in real time. You can use it on different avatars. You can create digital fashion shows and make them, let's say, in metaverse in this case. While you can also prepare your 3D garment to be used in augmented reality, which is another kind of applications, but you can see this garment in your room, in some space outside, and you can see it, you can go around that. It's often used, for example, for virtual fitting rooms. It's quite simple for eyeglasses or for rings or for footwear even, while it's much more complicated and much more difficult for the garment, because to make it really well in augmented reality or in virtual reality, you have to simulate the garment in real time, which is pretty difficult. It's feasible, but honestly, I haven't seen yet any really well done AR or VR applications that is virtual fitting room. I have seen some nice virtual fitting rooms that are done in virtual spaces where you use avatar. And this is something that I have already seen, but still nothing where you are in front of the mirror. So in this case, it's augmented reality, and you see your 3D garment on you. You can round, you can move, and it is going together with your movement. Still haven't seen anything that works perfectly, but it's a lot of products in the market that are getting there, and I assume in matter of few months, maybe few years, it will be already done, because technology is going in this way. And also here, artificial intelligence is one of technologies used to be able to match what we call bones. They are bones in real life, but in 3D, it's a little bit different. But anyway, what application have to do is to match your bones and understand how they move, and at the same time, move garment and simulate it with the same movement. That's why it's so complicated. But as said, I assume we are getting there sooner or later.
Yeah, so I still believe that these emerging technologies it's still early days, and there's a lot of research and development still going on, and I think eventually we'll be able to get there where having a virtual fitting room will be as good as the real thing, where you can wear a digital garment in a virtual fitting room and it moves according to your movement. So describe for me a typical garment production process where you work. What are the activities that go on from design all the way to products or garment creation? What are the things that you have to do?
So of course, the starting point is design. So connection with design team to understand what they want to create. They often create 2D sketches, especially for more complicated garment, and then we go with pattern creation. That later,
what kind of software do you use for the 2D creation?
We use Gerber, but it's a lot of different 2D software available in the market. So I mean, it's a plenty of choice. I would say that, for example, software that are later used for 3D, so for example, Claw or Browser, are not the best choice for real pattern makers, because they are missing a lot of shortcuts, a lot of tools that are used in real pattern making process. But there are a lot of people that are using them for creation of the patterns that are later produced physically. So I mean,
sorry to cut you in. Sorry to cut in. You said what particular software is not the best choice?
So for me, but it's my personal opinion, I wouldn't use Browser or Claw or Style 3D or any other kind of 3D CAD software for pattern creation. But this is because I have background in pattern making, and I know that software such as Gerber, for example, have much more tools which are very useful for pattern making and make this faster and more accurate. But still, it's a matter of choice. If someone have more time and would prefer to use one software for doing everything, it's still great.
Okay.
This is just opinion from fashion industry, so from someone who made patterns for garment that later was produced. And we start with this pattern, and this pattern will be exactly the same that later will be used to create physical garments. So it's prepared for production. Then we stitch this pattern in 3D software. In our case, it's Browser. And after that, we simulate it. We add 3D trims, we add the right fabrics. We have, of course, the fabric which are scanned. So we have fabric that exists in real life. We scanned their physical properties. We scanned their visual properties, and we create the garment. After that, it's the time to check it with product developers. So to have virtual fitting and understand with them and with designers if garment fits in the correct way, if it looks like they wish it to look. We do the adjustment, and just after that, it's sent for production. Of course, it's more than one iteration of fittings. It's a lot of comments. Then, of course, we still need the physical sample because we have to understand how garment will be actually stitched. So in 3D, we are able to check the fit. We are able to check the colorways, to check the graphics, to check a lot of things, but we still can't check the ability of vendor who will stitch it and who will manufacture it. So for sure, we need a physical sample before production to don't have any surprises.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Sylvia. It was a very enlightening session with you. So I'll be moving on to Okpe. Okpe is the AI guru. So Okpe, how would you define AI fashion? And can you tell us how you transitioned from being a stylist to an AI prompt engineer and designer?
Well, that's a very long story, but I will say that the very short story is that I was running the fashion studio for the .com of Century 21 stores, and they went bankrupt. And during COVID, I discovered metaverse technology, and a digital fashion actually was where it started. And I wanted to understand the application of digital fashion to real life. I really was curious to understand, like, what was the usefulness of it. And I met a lot of people on the road of discovery from, coming from a fashion stylist background. I've worked in the fashion industry for many years now, and fashion styling was another transition from retail into fashion styling. And so then to go from fashion styling into the technology, understanding the discovery was amazing. I felt like I was in a storybook, like Wizard of Oz type of thing, because, I discovered so many different, things like, the NFTs, digital fashion, NFTs, avatars, virtual reality, augmented reality, extended realities. And then I, discovered AI, and everything that I have been learning, I was doing a share. So I would do learning, sharing processes, touring people in different spaces, and really trying out the technology. So we tried it out. We showed people how to use, creating Gravity Sketch using Gravity Sketch, and then Blender, and then when we discovered AI, it's so interesting. I was just going over some of the slides to look at all of the past work. AI is, it's like a lot of the technology. You think when you're first using the technology, wow, this is amazing. And then another version, a higher version comes out, and you get more clarity and more definition. And it's like, wow, this is amazing. And you look back and it's like 5 versions later, it's like, I really was just doing like basic things at first. So the discovery has been, it's been a discovery journey for me, really hands-on, and just teaching not just myself, but other people as I've been going, how to appropriate the technology to whatever it is that we're doing. And because of that, I just entered a contest on a whim for AI Fashion Week, and I was able to get into the top 3 by jury. And I'm very honored and delighted that the collection is being, well, it will drop in 2 weeks on Revolve. So I'm excited about, you know, that journey from all of the discoveries and all of the different layers to this moment.
Yeah, that was actually the next question, because I know that, I mean, I've been following you on LinkedIn, and I know how, you know, you had to finish up that collection in a rush and almost missed the deadline, and, you know, dropped the collection for AI Fashion Week, and you came up top 3. So how has that experience been for you?
Well, it has been tumultuous, but an amazing process, to, you know, to actually, you know, do a, you know, a phygital collection, you know, if you will, you know, because it really was a digital design, in AI. And I don't even know that I don't know what I was thinking about, but I didn't know. I think in the rush of creating the collection for AI Fashion Week, I don't know if I realized that the prize was an actual design created, you know, all the designs would be created in real life. So that's been a huge blessing, to be able to discover that. But yes, the creating, you know, the generating AI is not an easy process to, you know, you have to really be be in good command of your language, to discover what it is you want. I remember teaching people how to use the technology, and, you know, they were like, it won't do what I want it to do. It won't produce anything I want it to do. And, you know, we had to discover that it's really about what you tell it to do, because AI is, to me, like a servant, and it will output what you input. And so you have to really make sure that your communication is key, and so that you give it enough information so that it can create what it is that you imagine, you know.
Yeah.
As it says, if you're using Midjourney, imagine, what do you imagine, and use your words. You know, it is a language model, so it does do exactly whatever we command it to do, and we have to be very clear on our commands. And so, yeah, I had to do a lot of generations to come up with 50 sketches for the Fashion Week. And then, you know, they wanted a lot of variables. They wanted a lot of they wanted a lot of different, they were okay with different skin tones, which was great. They were inclusive. They wanted people of all ages demonstrated. They wanted everything on the runway. And all of these things, you know, contributed to me trying to, you know, get things, but then you have to edit this, and I had 2 days to do it. So it was a lot to create in those 2 days, but I'm happy that I submitted it at the very last minute, and somehow made it into a by their jury, like I said, made it into the top 3. The top 10 was a voting process. The top 3 was the jury. So it was, I made it in. It was a complete blessing by 1 vote. To I was the final finalist. And then the process to create the line from AI to actual design. That's why I was very interested in the first speaker. What she was saying was interesting, because, you know, AI, when you're designing in AI, you're only seeing the front sketch. And, you know, this has been a huge democratization of the process, because I am not a traditional designer. I am a stylist. And so when they were asking me, they said, you know, can you give us this sketch in, you know, can you give us a CAD sketch? And I was like, oh my goodness, I would have to learn Illustrator overnight, and they don't have AI for that. So, you know, we had to imagine, what does the back of this garment look like? Because AI only gives you the front sketch. It, you know, in a way, it's like a 2D sketch, like what you were saying to the students. So yeah, AI is really a 2D sketch, and they haven't quite, that has been open to the public, gotten to that place where you can do a 3D sketch. I remember when they asked me for the 3D sketch, I was like, can I do this in Gravity Sketch? But it wasn't quite there, because like she mentioned, you need to have like, you know, a real form to it, a real pattern type of, you know, demonstration of whatever it was that you were doing. And my designs were quite elaborate. The other thing about the process to from digital to physical was that some of the sketches that I had in my initial presentation, you know, for AI, you know, I was imagining something that was a bit more metaversal. You know, I like the idea of fantasy in fashion. Like she was saying, you can't always, you know, find that digital fashion translates to real life, because people want things that can actually cover their body and can, you know, can be real, you know, a real presentation. And so the first thing they were like, well, I'm going to tell you the truth. We're able to do only things that we can actually produce. So we want you to give us the ones that you really, really like, and we'll tell you whether we can do this or not. Because you know, the AI that the designs that I was, you know, drawing out were, well, I call them AI sketches. With my AI sketching was, you know, a bit elaborate and maybe a bit fantastical. So I had to like bring it down a little bit to make it, you know, more ready to wear.
Okay, so because I know that we have speakers who have to leave very soon, so the next question has to be, you know, as brief as possible. So for a young African student who wants to explore AI fashion, what would be your advice, and what apps would you recommend?
Well, I like Midjourney, but but it is a paid application, so you could use something like Leonardo AI. You could use things like Stable Diffusion. There's a version of it that is free, but you know, if you want, I prefer Midjourney myself personally. I like I like the more realistic design that it does, and I feel like I have more control of what, you know, my outputs are in Midjourney personally. Yeah, I would recommend that they have a lot of fun and don't get frustrated and just keep trying, and continue to do different things. That's what I normally do. Just keep trying to do different things, because it can get frustrating with language and, you know, trying to get what it is you want. So if it gets frustrating, leave that subject and try something else, and then come back. You know, once you get more and more experience, it gets better and better the more you use the application. Thank you.
Incredible, incredible. And, you know, just very recently, I actually discovered, you know, that there are AI apps that are dedicated to fashion. I recently just discovered Resleeve AI and Fabric AI, and I was blown away. You know, they can actually generate fashion sketches and convert, you know, your rough sketches to 3D is incredible. Thank you so much, okay, for your
Thank you.
incredible insights and expertise. So I'll be moving to Muriel. Muriel,
I'm here.
very, 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 very happy to have you here. So I'd like to ask you, you know, about your intersection, you know, your, oh my goodness,
My journey, perhaps.
your journey,
My journey
basically,
into transitioning into
into digital fashion. And into gaming, because I know that you teach fashion sociology at ESMOD. So how did that transition? How did it start?
Well, I teach many courses initially on consumer research, marketing, and gaming and gamification, and sociology and history of fashion. But more recently, I've been given the chance to also explore how to train students by using Midjourney. So it's quite interesting actually, because they go from traditional styling to something which they're not necessarily familiar with, and something which they are learning to grasp the necessary conditions for it to be successful for them, and what is it that it means in terms of end results, and how it contributes to their creations and their collections. So how I came into being in the Web3 space, I was asked about 2 years ago to come and do some advisory work for a game on the blockchain on fashion. So for the educational part, but also for the gamified aspects, and also a little bit for the partnerships. So I started my journey in Web3. As such, I'd already been familiar with what was going on, because I had been asked to go to a number of events where I'd already had connected with a number of metaverse companies and Web3 companies. So I was pretty familiar with the space before I entered it. And, you know, from one thing to another, I started to become, do more advisory work, not only on the blockchain, but to fashion brands and to Web3 startups. And then I was pulled into the Outlier Ventures accelerator, the Dream Assembly base camp they have with Farfetched. So it's quite interesting, because in the end you start to do a lot of things, a lot of different things, and I get to meet a lot of different companies, a lot of different startups that are entered the space and that are doing a number of things in terms of infrastructure for e-commerce, for what we call d-commerce, or even in the DeFi area. So it's and also in gaming. So it's quite interesting to see how all this blends together, and also to see the how hybrid gaming and fashion has become. That's really the strong aspects of it, I think.
Incredible.
So that's how I entered it, and I do have a background in game studies, gaming and gamification, so that really informs also. And I have a company where we use game-based learning to create participation and engagement, and create more immersive experiences with game-based learning.
Incredible. So I know that a lot of fashion brands in the West are transitioning from digital fashion, transitioning into digital fashion because of sustainability and ethical issues. Now, how does that apply to the African fashion industry? Like, how does the African fashion industry benefit from digital fashion, seeing that our fashion is to a very large extent ethical and sustainable? Because the average African brand is usually bespoke. We just very recently started to transition into mass production. And I know that there's a lot of waste in the West. And so it has become very, very important that it embrace digital fashion. But for Africa, how do you think, that we can benefit from digital fashion, seeing that waste is not necessarily a problem?
Well, I think there are multiple avenues for it to be benefiting digital fashion where the African fashion industry is concerned. I think there's the idea that it gives what we call increased accessibility. That means that when you use digital fashion, you also provide an opportunity for brands, and I think that applies to African fashion also, to be connected to a more global audience. So you can already do that, in a diversity way, but by leveraging specifically metaverse spaces or other spaces which are more immersive or gamified virtual spaces, you tend to want to showcase what you do best. And I think what African fashion and African designers do best is that they showcase their ethical and sustainable fashion practices. And that enables that to be understood by a wider market. That means it's both, creating visibility, accessibility for what they do. But I think in terms of also reducing environmental impact, that's also something that you might not need on your side in Africa, but it is also a way of reducing physical production, for example, when you're a designer. So I think that's, and even the rest of the supply chain, when you look at it, manufacturing, transportation, and all the rest. Waste might not be an issue, but it is for us in Europe. And of course, I think I would say also, the way that this creates a whole creators economy. So all the creative expression, the creative collaboration that spurs when you enter the world of digital fashion. It's multiple avenues for creativity, collaboration between all the African fashion industry key players as well, by using what Sylvia, sorry, I'm going to call you Sylvia, it's too difficult to say the name, but by using, augmented reality, virtual reality experiences that really allows a degree of collaboration and between a lot of different stakeholders from, digital artists, people who are technologists, content creators. So I think on that side, it's also a burgeoning or an incitation to create and express and collaborate in a more with all the the different African designers, because I think it's a lot of people. I have a lot of students, as much as they're familiar with what's happening in the in Europe, and they tend to look also elsewhere. They're not always familiar with what's happening in Africa, and I think that giving more visibility to the Pan-African designers, because there are multiple ways of showcasing what African designers do. There's a lot of storytelling. Sometimes there's even political statements that are made through the clothes they wear and they produce. So I think that's key. I would say also how it enables to empower artisans and communities. How it provides for African fashion brands a way to really showcase again the craftsmanship, the skills, the different fabrics. There are so many that we don't know about. That we know what the kente and many, but we don't know the whole aspects of it, which is quite varied. Yeah.
So very quickly, because I know that Claire has to leave very soon, and I need to also interview her. All right, so you serve as a mentor on the Dream Assembly Basecamp, which is an accelerator for startups in digital fashion. Now, what would you say you look out for during the selection process? Because I know that a lot of startups in fashion tech, apply for this accelerator. So as a mentor in this field, what do you look for when you're selecting fashion tech startups?
So as a mentor, we don't get to select the startups. They're generally selected out of 300 to 500 startups, depending on the base camp. Outlier Ventures has a number of base camps on a diversity of subject matters, from decentralized finance to e-commerce, which is the most recent one with a partnership with Walmart. So the idea is that what they look for is a unique value proposition. Okay, the idea that you can bring innovative ideas and unique value propositions to the table, at least in the Dream Assembly Basecamp, which is the partnership with Farfetched. The market potential, the scalability, also the team is, and the expertise. You don't have a good startup unless you have a team behind it. That's that's kind of a vital role in the success of the startup. That to have a team that understands where they're going, has a great leader, have a great experience, are passionate about what they're doing, because it's hard. The space is hard to manage. There's been a bear market, and your capacity to be able to generate revenue and also align with what is key in Africa, the ethical and sustainable practices. There are a lot of things, but it is a strong selection process, I must say.
Thank you so much.
So yeah,
thank you so much, Maria.
You're welcome.
All right, so I'll move to Claire. Claire, thank you so much for coming. So you have been an advocate of digital fashion, or rather, I would say you're still an advocate for digital fashion by creating a platform for indie designers who might not otherwise have been able to get into traditional fashion shows to showcase their work digitally and physically. That's phygital fashion. Can you tell us how you started out creating these fashion weeks and how that experience has been for you?
Yeah, sure. So Digital Fashion Week is actually about the digitalization of the entire fashion industry. So it's not just looking at digital fashion as a wearable, but as Sylvia pointed out earlier, it's, we look at starting with digital product creation. So I started this. I've been in fashion technology and digital fashion since 2009. I had a previous company. We built a vertical virtual platform specifically for independent designers, so they could design and create all in the virtual space and put it for sale online. You could populate it with fabrics that you could buy in the New York City garment district and then have it made on demand in the garment district here as well. I've also been making robotic fashion for a while, and consequently, because of this, curating the tech night of fashion shows, creating wearables for exhibitions and talks and special events, looking at the possibilities in fashion. So it was during lockdown that I was curating the Tech Night of a fashion show, and I didn't want to do it by filming it and putting on a rooftop, putting it on YouTube. So I built virtual galleries, and I also built one of the galleries for technology, one for digital fashion and one for wearable technology. And we just had such a huge response that I didn't expect from this. So I decided, now is the time. It was circumstantial. People are actually interested in the technology. So I launched Digital Fashion Week. I wanted to put technology and creativity in the same place on an equal footing. So putting technology in a more sexy environment where you have fashion, bringing together the innovators and the creatives, and talking about what is possible, really throwing a lens on what could happen in the fashion industry. And it's gone from strength to strength. There is increasing attention. We have to pivot constantly and look at what is new, what are emerging technologies. And we have a big focus as well on putting different technologies side by side, introducing technologies to creatives and vice versa as well. So it's a moving, shifting event. And really looking at what we can do in the future.
Yeah, and it's been so well received that you've been able to expand to London and Paris. Can you tell us a bit about that experience?
About expanding, yeah. It's great. Taking events to new audiences, bringing more people into the community. Community is the foundation of this. It's amazing people. Some of the panelists that we have here, Mireille, are involved with the events as well, bringing her experience, her expertise, her knowledge to bear on what we're doing and to share with other people. So very similar to what you're doing here, it's about sharing knowledge and sharing information, bringing people together. Web3 is a very, very exciting place. It's about collaborations, and people want to share what they have. We can see that digital designers and designers who are working in the digital space are very, very willing to share their information and share everything that they've learned. A lot of this information is not available through formal structures. So a lot of it is very informal, and it's in community chats and channels.
Yeah, incredible. So what kind of activities occur during a typical digital fashion week? What do we expect to happen during digital fashion week?
Well, you should not expect the same thing to happen twice. So we have three core pillars: thought leadership, innovation, and creativity. So those are things that you should expect to see. But beyond that, how we experience those is going to be different every time. You're going to see different technology, you're going to see different creatives, and you're going to see different speakers. We're changing direction a little bit for 2024, looking more at strategy and having more of sort of an expo. We want people to actually really get a taste of more technologies. So bringing innovators in a more sort of exhibition environment, so that the audience, the public, can come in and they can try things and they can taste them and really get their hands on something. Talking to a lot of large brands, there's still major hurdles that everybody has to get over with trying new technologies. So we think that if we have somebody there representing a brand and allowing people to actually just try it, you get over that huge hump, and providing strategy talks around this as well. So how do you, why should you, and how do you incorporate these ideas in your brand strategy?
Incredible. So this is just, the beginning for us at BlueCrest University. We're introducing our students to digital fashion and having them adopt it. And we're hoping that by next year, early next year, we'll be able to exhibit at, Digital Fashion Week New York, hopefully. So if we have that in our plans, can you let us know the process of applying to exhibit?
Yeah, we just have an application form online for February. We're opening very soon. We just sort of have to align exactly what we're offering and how we're offering it as well, because that changes every time. So we post on LinkedIn and Instagram when applications open, and you just fill out a form and apply.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Claire, for that insight. All right, so I'll be moving on to Olaiton. Hello, Olaiton, how are you doing?
Okay. Hi.
Very happy to have you here.
Thank
All right.
you.
Yeah, so you are a Nigerian 2D illustrator who transitioned into 3D. Can you tell us how you started and how that experience has been for you so far?
All right. I actually started as a 2D illustrator. After my university, I was home. I was back home, so
What
I
did you
really had
study?
nothing.
What did you
Uh,
study?
I studied food science and technology.
Wow, such a far cry from what you're doing now.
So I wasn't really doing anything straight out of uni. So I was just at home. So I just started sketching on paper with my pen. I don't even know what actually got the interest, but because I was actually idle. But I've always had a thing for fashion. So I started sketching on paper. Later, I checked online that, okay, there should be more to this. So I got to know about digital sketching, where I can sketch using some apps on my phone. So after that, I was like, there should be more to this. So I actually went on to search more online, and I came across 3D, and I was like, wow. And it's kind of new to me, and it seems like people don't really know about it. So between transitioning between 2D and 3D, it seems like it's kind of very creative. The fact that I can merge what I know in 2D and also in 3D has actually really been very transformative for me. So I've actually, sometimes before I do my 3D design, I sketch. Since I already have knowledge of that, I sketch. Then I proceed to designing in 3D. It has really been an amazing journey. And when I started off, I actually reached out to people in the field before now. So I spoke with them, and they were able to put me through. But we have little, as of when I started, then little people that I met. And I met people, and it has really been creative so far. And that's how I've been in 3D designing.
Incredible. So what will you say are the advantages of 3D design, and what are the opportunities that exist in the field for Africans? Because when we think of 3D design, we think of it as, an emerging technology, a cutting-edge technology, and we know that Africans are not usually associated with emerging technology. And so what would you say are the advantages of 3D design, and what kind of opportunities exist in the field for we Africans?
Okay. There are actually a lot of advantages. One is that you can actually you can visualize your design with precision. So even if you're trying to design a physical garment, you can produce it in 3D and see how the cloth is going to drape, how it's going to turn out, even before the actual production. So even if you sketch 2D will actually bring out the idea, but 3D will make it more easy, like you can actually visualize it very well, and even in the process you can actually be creative with your design. And also it also promotes sustainability, where you don't have to always first do different trials on clothes before you get your actual production. So you can actually design it first and say, okay, is this what I want? So you will minimize waste in the process, and kind of eco-friendly. And there are a lot of advantage, and also you can also get to be very creative. Just imagine anything, and then you bring it out.
So what kind of opportunities? Because we have students here who are thinking of, okay, fine, I don't necessarily have to sew. after this and be a designer? This 3D thing sounds interesting to me. What kind of opportunities exist in it for them? Can they be 3D designers? What kind of opportunities?
So you can get to you can actually get to work with fashion brands before the actual production. You can get to actually use your design to tell story even to a global global scale. And another thing is it's kind of way preserve our culture. So let's say there are things that we don't really know about your own culture and you really want it to go out there to the public or even to a wider range without it going off. So you can actually use that to also preserve your culture. You can also work with VR and other advanced technology too. So it's kind of intertwined. So you get, and I also know that you can also get to work with gamers too. So there are really a lot of opportunity in this.
Amazing. All right. So what kind of software does one need to master to be a well-rounded 3D digital designer?
So we have different softwares for the ones that are for digital for fashion designers. We have likes of Clue 3D, Marvelous Design, Style 3D, and there is also one Z Emotions. You might not really know much about it, but we have those ones are specifically for fashion designers. There are actually 3D softwares out there, but the ones that are made for fashion designers are the ones I listed now. So we have other 3D softwares.
What does Z Emotions do?
They're also like softwares to design, just like Clue 3D and other softwares too.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we have other 3D design softwares you can also use, such as Dash 3D. I use Dash 3D to design my avatar, to design my scene, the probes, how I want it to look, and on when you want to render, there are really terms, but when you want to give out your final presentation and make your design very realistic, I import it into Blender. So that is where I render. I do more of texturing, and sometimes you can actually animate where you can make your outfit move. That's what animation is, and there are among other things we have.
I know that. Sorry, I know that you can also render in Clo. Doesn't Clo do a good enough job when it comes to rendering? You can render, you can animate in Clo. So why do you export to Blender?
Yeah, it's on an advanced level, so it depends on the quality of what you want. So I actually go on that because it is flexible. You can get to manage how you want the outcome to be. So Clo 3D is actually for you to design the outfit itself. It's mainly for that, but the other features you have there are not really their focus. So you can actually use other softwares to finish your work to get a final and quality job done.
Incredible. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Yes, that's it. Thank you. I actually see myself as a prominent figure in the global 3D fashion industry in the next 5 years, hopefully, and to also be promoting the African fashion and culture, and also to promote sustainable fashion in Africa too.
Incredible. I know that we have a ton of questions, and Muriel and Claire need to leave right about now. So I'm going to ask, because it's already 1 p.m. here. So I'm going to quickly ask, does anybody have any specific questions? Because there are quite a number. Can Sylvia handle this, please? There are quite a number of questions here. Does anybody have any particular questions for Claire or Muriel before they leave?
Yes. I don't know whether certain questions have been directed to them.
These are general questions that I can see here. They're general questions, but any specific questions for Claire, who is in charge of Digital Fashion Week, and then Muriel, who is into gaming? Does anybody have any particular questions for them?
There's one question here, which is about how they can attend the Digital Fashion Week. So she can do that for us.
Okay, Claire, so somebody wants to know how they can attend Digital Fashion Week. Could you quickly answer that before you leave?
Yes.
Is Claire still there? Or she's had to leave? Okay. Marielle, are you still there? Because I know that they had to leave by 1 p.m.
Oh,
And then, I just wanted to say, Claire always has on her website, she has tickets that are posted. You can go to Digital Fashion Week, the website, and you can, she always makes it very readily available to, get your tickets to go into that. You just need to connect to Digital Fashion Week profile and just watch for whenever the tickets are going to drop. I just
Okay.
wanted to offer that.
Thank you so much, Okwe. All right. Okwe, if you notice, I didn't my questions, I couldn't finish my questions with you, so I might as well just finish up now. So sorry. So yeah. Okay. All right. So what kind of job opportunities are available for AI fashion, especially for students looking to transition into the space? Like, are there any job opportunities? Because I know you spoke about, you know, having to say the right words, and I know that that comes under a new term called prompt engineering. So what kind of job opportunities are available, particularly for Africans who want to transition into AI designs for the benefit of our students who are listening?
There are lots of different things that have started to happen for people who can do prompting, who can generate sketches. You do have to, use language, but yes, prompt engineering has become a job that is becoming available in a lot of different places. Not just for fashion, but for a lot of different business industries. I've seen creative direction in AI, because you can use AI for your mood boards, your ideas, and there just inside of generation, I'm seeing more prompt engineering, more people who can create for companies in AI, and also people who can use different things in Chat GPT for fashion as well, if people know how to utilize that engine, as well, any kind of large language model engine where it is able to produce these kind of results are what I'm seeing out there right now. And like I said, the creative direction, but there's so many, like Claire mentioned, we pivot often because things are developing as we speak. Right now, as we're in this meeting, somebody is creating a brand new job right now for AI, because of the different things that are changing. And also there's a development for so I'm on a jury for a shaded view on fashion film, which has a AI fashion film category. So people are starting to even develop AI fashion films. I have been experimenting with it. It is not easy, of course, to produce prompts. And as we start to, really evolve in it right now, to me, because I'm doing a presentation very soon at the Can Do Innovation Summit. And I was trying to present an AI fashion film, but I am not as convinced, that the work that I did was like, one that I actually wanted to present, even though a friend of mine said it was okay. But it's just like what I was saying earlier. You look at generations before. I could see this right now as being it's okay, but it's not on the level. that I would have wanted it to, you know, be there. And so I think I'm just saying that to say that there's also other things that are developing as we speak. You know, there's the movement, there's the 3D creation in AI, you know, text to 3D models and things like that. Can you imagine when you're able to text to video in AI? All these things are happening, you know, as we're speaking. So yeah, there are different ones that you can use for video, like Runway, ML. Yes, yes. And so yeah, there are lots of developments coming as we speak. So even if you don't see jobs right now that you know can be mentioned, keep looking because it is changing as we speak, literally. Thank you.
Incredible. Yeah, so Sylvia had to leave, and you know, she said if anyone has any questions, she'll be happy to follow up via email. So I'll be leaving her email later. So I have another question here that says the names of the softwares mentioned weren't too clear. Can I get help with the list, please? So Okwe, could you kindly go over, you know, the list of software for image generation and software for video generation, AI?
So for video generation, you can use Runway, ML. There's also Kyber, that and that's spelled Kaiber. You can use that. There is also for image generation, there is Stable Diffusion, there is Leonardo AI, there is Midjourney, of course. I'm sure there's some other ones that I'm not thinking of right now because there's so many. I just prefer, me personally, I prefer Midjourney because like I said, I like the quality of images that you can use. You can run through different versions if you like. You can go back to a certain version if you like whatever it is they're doing, because as all of us being you know, AI people who generate in AI, people like different styles for whatever it is that they're producing. Some people may like things that are more painterly. Some people may like things that are more hyper realistic and things of that nature. And you may, you know, be able to produce whatever it is that you want for, you know, whatever results you would like in the different engines. So you have to test them out and see which ones you like. But I recommend Leonardo AI for starters because it is a free one. Also there's Lexica, I think. Yeah, Lexica is also another free generation, free AI generation tool that is pretty good. Some people recommend Wombo. I didn't love, you know, what I was able to produce in that, but I my personal favorite is Midjourney, and I used to teach the Midjourney when it was free. And I think what happened was people they got upset about some people abusing their technology for, you know, for different things, and then they made the lowest model become $10 a month. So I would recommend trying in these other ones that are free first, and then, you know, as you demonstrate, you know, better, or, you know, or try the Midjourney for 1 month and see how you like it.
Okay, so there's another question here that says, are there African print design effects used in digital fashion or AI fashion? I don't know what that means. But Sylvia, I think you're the one that asked this question. Are there African print design effects? So maybe you would have to explain what you're trying to say.
Okay, so I was trying to find out if like we have some of these, you know, there's what you call Ankara. Some of these design effects, can we incorporate some of them in the digital fashion or AI fashion?
So
Or we need to create them and use them in?
Okwe will answer that, and also Olaiton. So Okwe from the AI perspective and Olaiton from the digital perspective.
So there are a couple of ways that you can do that. You can actually put that as a prompt in there. You can, because it's what you imagine. How do you imagine that print to look like? I would try it as Ankara for sure, the actual name, and see what it generates. And then I would try it as print a design that looks like this and that, you know, whatever it is you want it to produce. And then also I would try to create an actual print. You can make there's a print function inside of AI in command where you can create a print. If you wanted to just do a complete print for you, it can do that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Incredible. Olaiton, could you answer that, please? How do you incorporate African prints into 3D fashion, into your 3D designs? Because I know that you also do African-inspired 3D design. So how do you do that?
So you have a clear okay a high resolution picture of the print that you want. Let's say you already have your print, or you have a physical cloth, so you can have the high resolution, then you import it into your software. Though you might have to generate normal map. Sorry, these are terms that I don't know if they will actually understand. But there are some things that you have to tweak, but you can get to your print either by getting a high resolution print, or you do your design out yourself using all these illustrators, yes, to sketch out your print. But you can also import your own design. Maybe you already have the prints before, you can import it into those softwares.
Okay. So there's another question here. What skills and knowledge are essential for individuals looking to work in 3D digital fashion and AI fashion fields? What skills? I think, Olaiton, can you answer that?
You have to be open to learning new things, because 3D can actually be intellectually challenging, but you have to be open to learn new software, new things, and you have to be able to unlock that creativity in you, because really it's the creativity that actually push you out the more.
Hi, Omo. Did we lose Ola? Did we lose Olaitan?
Okay. Did we lose her?
Like, is she offline?
I was even thinking it was my internet, but okay. So maybe her internet threw her out. All right. She'll be back soon. Okay, so to quickly answer that question, what skill and knowledge are essential for individuals looking to work in 3D digital fashion and AI fashion field? So what I would say is, number one, you have to have an idea of garment construction if you want to work in 3D, because the 3D designs are created from 2D patterns. So you have to have a basic knowledge of garment construction. And so the kind of software you're going to be able to use, Clo 3D, Marvelous Designer, there are new ones out now. You have Style 3D. Then you also, if you're not happy with the kind of avatars, they call them avatars, the bodies that you drape the garments on in 3D. If you're not happy with the avatars, you can create your avatars yourself using DAS 3D. Okay, if you want a certain kind of environment, you can create your environment in Unreal Engine. So you actually have standalone software that you can learn. Okay, is a light on back? Or is somebody's mic on? Okay, so somebody is saying, I'm terrible at sketching. I so good. Where do I start from in respect to digital designing? So digital designing doesn't have anything to do with sketching per se. Like I said, you just need to have an idea of you have to, you can have the idea in your head, you can have a rough sketch, but you have to have an idea of pattern making. So it's pretty much like sewing, but you're sewing digitally. And if you have, if you don't sketch well, you have AI fashion, which is just typing a few words into AI and it will generate fashion sketches for you. Like I said, I just discovered a particular AI app that is specific for fashion, and it's called Resleeve AI. And you actually just type in, create a fashion sketch of a girl wearing a full circle skirt and a crop top, and it will create a sketch for you just like that, you know. So AI has made the average designer's work quite easy. All right, so I'll be taking this last question.
Hi, Omo. Hi, Omo. Okay, I think let me check whether Omo is here. Yes, she's online.
So Sylvia, maybe you can continue reading the messages so that they can answer
Okay.
when she joins.
Okay, so
Yeah, and I just wanted to just, add to what she was saying, for the person who cannot sketch, keep in mind that that I did not come from I'm not a designer, and I don't sew. So, what I used to create the ideas that I had in my mind was I used the AI to produce that. So you can actually, you don't have to really know how to sketch. You just, like she said, you just need an idea. What do you want to see? And then use the AI, communicate to the AI what it is you would like to see, and keep working with it until it produces what you would like, what you would like or what you envision. I hope that helps.
yes, thank
Yes.
you. Omo is back.
Yes, it did. Thank you. At this point, would honestly really, because we've exceeded, we were going to do 1 hour, 15 minutes max. Now it's 1 hour, 22 minutes. And, because we've been having such an amazing time. Thank you so much to everyone that showed up, particularly to our beloved and esteemed panelists. Louise, who couldn't be here, Claire Tattersall, Muriel, Sylvia, Olaiton, Okwe, thank you so much for honoring and for staying back and even exceeding the required time. Thank you, Henrietta in the background. Thank you, Sylvia, for co-hosting and moderating this session with me. We would have to stop now. So that I can allow everyone to leave. If you have any questions, Sylvia already sent me a message that we can always send her. She left her, if you check the chat, she left her LinkedIn profile, the link to her LinkedIn profile in the chat. So you can always reach out to her if you have any questions on 3D design. I have one last question before Okwe leaves. Like Sylvia said, Okwe has just left her her website, a link to her website in the chat. So before Okwe leaves, Okwe did something really amazing for my community. She was able to link us up with a 3D tutor, sorry, an AI tutor who taught us how to use Leonardo AI, and it's been really incredible. So, Okwe, what other plans do you have for the African community? Because Okwe is originally Nigerian. What other plans do you have in terms of giving back your knowledge and your experience in AI to the African community? Is Okwe still there or she's left?
You have to unmute for us.
Sorry, yes. So yeah, I apologize. So I have been, as I mentioned earlier, I've been working and sharing. And some of the people that have benefited have been Nigerian voices and designers and illustrators, who have gone on to do amazing things, like Jessica James and Neshe. I don't know if you all know these designers, but we're doing amazing things just based off of some of the whatever it was that we were sharing and learning. So I'm always sharing and learning, and I actually was thinking, these are more opportunities to share with people all over the world, as I have been doing for the last 3.5 years. I'm always going to be sharing and always going to, be giving anything that I know to anyone who will listen, actually, regarding all the technology. And so, yes, I know that right now I have a collaboration coming up with a friend for something to do in Nigeria for Lagos, for digital fashion, as we examine that field. And any other opportunities that come up, I'll honor those as they come up, for sure.
Yeah, I can proudly say that you're one of the people who made me an AI enthusiast, and we're rooting for you back in Nigeria, because you're doing such incredible work in the United States and all over the world. Thank you so much for honoring.
Okay. So, Omo, I guess there is no other question. Some of the
Invite.
questions have been
All right, so at this
answered
point,
in the chat. So thank you all for joining, and to our panelists, we can't thank you enough. We are so grateful for dedicating your time and your efforts into this webinar. And I would like to remind you all that our Apaswo Kasa Fashion Show is coming on this Saturday, 28th of October, from 7 p.m. onwards, and it's going to be a wonderful, spectacular night of sustainability and style. So you can't afford to miss that. There are tickets still available, and you can get them through various channels, whether online or buying through Momo. Get in touch with us and get a ticket. It's going to be very wonderful. So we look forward to more webinars, and thank you all once again. So that's the end. Bye.